beautiful women. How are you all? And welcome to day 4 of the Move and Flow Challenge. 4 days in already. Let me know in the comments if you've managed to watch all of them, all of the trainings so far. Let me know. There's so many comments. I'm kind of starting to lose a little bit of track, but let me know. Let me know who is doing all of them, okay? And if you are caught up. One note, remember, all of the trainings are under the guides section in the group. So this will save you scrolling through the feed and trying to find the correct training. They are all under the guides, under the Move and Flow Challenge, and then you will be able to see the post there, day 1, 2, 3, and I will be adding up the 4th one, okay? So let me know who's all caught up on the 4 days, and let me know who's joining me live. So today, day 4 is all about hips. Today we might probably go for a little bit longer because hips are a massive area that needs to get mobilized from all over, okay? So I've got a note today. This is perfect for you if you have tight, stiff hips that don't move very well. That's number 1, okay? Let me know in the comments which one are you. Number 2, you have pain and aches in your hips or in your lower back. Number 2, okay? Number 3, you sit down for long periods of time because that often translates to super tight hips. Number 4, you find movements like deep squat super challenging or done impossible. And number 1, 2, 3, 4, number 5, you need more range of motion in your hips for whatever activity or sport you love doing. I love surfing, and I know that for people who have limited hip mobility, the pop-up and even the sitting down on the surfboard is darn impossible or really difficult. So let me know. Number 1, have tight, stiff hips that don't move very well. Number 2, have pain and aches in lower back or the hips. Number 3, sit down for long periods of time. Number 4, find movements like deep squat super challenging. And number 5, need more range of motion for, and this doesn't have to be sport or activity, just for life. Maybe you're finding getting in and out of car really difficult. So the hips. Now the hips are probably the one area that most of my clients come to me for or have challenges with. In our modern lifestyle, this is the area of our bodies that become tragically lock up. This is the area that give us a lot of pain. Yeah, I'm talking about sciatica, hip pain, knee pain, lower back pain. Sometimes the pain even goes up into the upper back and the neck. Sometimes it goes down into the knees and ankles. Okay, so the hips is an area of your body that needs to be super, super mobile. Yeah, it was designed that way. And if it gets locked up, then other areas of your body above or below, above being the lower back, below being the knees, become start destabilizing, which will essentially cause wearing out and pain. That's why people have a lot of knee replacements and hip replacements as well. If the muscles around the hips, the hip flexors become tight, the joint is going to start wearing out in a funky way, which will cause the joint to wear out a lot quicker. Your joints are designed to last you 120 years. So for the people that are getting joint replacements, that means that they have been abusing their bodies to the point that their joints are wearing out. They should not wear out, okay? So biomechanically, generally caused by tight muscles, your joints are wearing out in the wrong places, okay? Oh, hello, Glad. So lovely to see you here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, I usually do great with squats, but I am dealing with a knee issue. Okay, so that'll be quite interesting to find out why you have a knee issue. Yeah, what is the cause of that? SI joint issues too. Yeah, most people at midlife and beyond have SI joint issues. Again, the question is, Why? Yeah. What is the stability that you have missing in your body? What is the strength you have missing in your body that is not supporting and loading the joint too much? Debbie, you are in. Yay. That's fantastic. Yay. Welcome here. That is fantastic to have you here. I'm glad that everything's worked out today. I'll send you the links to the following Facebook Lives as well, so you can join us live. Okay. So again, today I'm going to teach some open chain mobility, so standing up, because I also know that some people find it incredibly challenging to be moving on the floor. So getting on and off the floor is challenging for people. So I'm going to do a few mobility movements standing up. Then we're going to go onto the floor, get a little bit deeper with some close chain mobility. And then as a bit of a bonus today, I'm going to teach you a little hip flow. By mobility flow, I mean that you're going to basically combine a few movements together into a hip flow to really get deep into the hips from all directions. Okay? So I'm going to start. Keep the questions coming. I'll be checking, okay? I have just come out of a masterclass and I didn't have time to change. So I'm in normal clothes today, not exercise clothes. But this is to show you that you can perform these movements even if you're in an office and you are wearing, just a normal clothes rather than exercise clothes. Okay. We're going to start with some leg swings, yeah? Because again, we cannot look at the joint in isolation of all of the muscles that are around it. Often people have pain in the hips because their quadriceps are quite tight. Maybe they have underactive glutes or tight hamstrings or tight hip flexors, which are all the stabilizing muscles around the hip joint, okay? So leg swings are a wonderful dynamic movement that gets into the hip, but also in the quadricep, so the front of your thigh muscles, and starts mobilizing the knee as well, okay? So stand up, and this is the movement, yeah? So you're going to lift your leg as far as it will go, as high as it will go. Then you're going to start lowering it. The foot is flexed, yeah, parallel to the ground, and then you dynamically flicking the leg backwards, yeah? So if I show you in the speed that I usually perform it with is about here. If you're struggling with balance, which most people do, yeah, just hold on to a wall or whatever, a chair or anything that you have around you that can assist you in performing this movement, okay? Make sure that you are tightening your glutes a little bit, you have nice straight posture, and then see how you go here, okay? So this is a nice dynamic movement. Gets into the knee as well a little bit, okay? So it's mobilizing a whole bunch of stuff at once. And then when you're ready, transition to the other side, okay? Make sure that you're not kind of leaning into it in any way, that the supporting leg is nice and straight rather than being kind of out of alignment, okay? So you want to tighten your glutes a little bit and then see how you go from here, yeah? So these are called leg swings. I have so many hip mobility movements. I have like literally this storm in my head trying to pick out the ones I want to teach you. Because if I teach you all of them, we'll be still here in 2 hours, okay? Hips is literally probably the area that I know the most hip mobility movements for, because they are so often tragically tight. Okay, now, again, we're going to do a one-legged movement. So keep, if you need a bit of support of a wall or chair, feel free, okay? This is called a hip hurdle, yeah? And it is literally you pretending you are popping your leg over, well, a hurdle or some kind of object, yeah? Now, you want to go here as big as you possibly can without causing you any discomfort. And again, if this is where you are today, that is all good, yeah? And you go both ways, so you open and close, yeah? And then try the other side. I really feel it, yeah? You probably feel a little bit, there's a bit of work happening, there's a bit of mobility, a bit of strength. So this is called a hip hurdle, yeah? Lovely movement. Now, if you are okay with this, I'm going to show you the next level of the hip hurdle, okay? And that is, rather than doing this simple movement, we're going to go into like a figure eight. So you're going to go open the knee, open the hip, up, across, down, across, yeah? So you are starting to do this kind of like a figure eight. Yeah, so slightly more complicated movement, and you can probably feel like there's a lot of things happening in the glutes and around the hip. And then reverse, yeah? Again, close, open, down, close, yeah? This is fantastic movement for your brain. If you get lost in it, don't worry. Yeah? And let's transition, shake it out. Yeah, if you need to, bit of tension, and then let's go the other way. Open, close, down, open. Yeah? Again, as you get a little bit more kind of efficient at it, you can then start really smoothing out the movement. Yeah? And then reverse. Trying to keep my balance. So this is a three beautiful open chain mobility. So if you don't want to get down onto the ground, and then we'll start transitioning down to the ground, okay? I'm just going to check the comments real quick, and then we'll do some movements on the ground. Carrie, I made it, the internet challenges tonight. Sorry to hear, Carrie. So happy to feel the live energy. Yeah, it's nice to be live, isn't it, Debbie? I always get so pumped up after the lives with you guys. Yay, Jackie made it too. Hi, Jackie. That's awesome. Fantastic. Okay, let's get a little lower. Okay, so this is called the rocking shin lunge. I've perhaps lowered it a little bit too much. Okay. The rocking shin lunge. Now, this is going to be a movement that's performed kneeling down. If you are experiencing any discomfort in your knees, just put an extra cushion, or you can fold your mat a little bit, or whatever you need to make this comfortable. The way you're going to kneel, try to kneel a little bit wider, because you'll get a little bit more base of support. Yeah. So rather than being here, which is kind of a little bit wobbly, go a little bit wider, okay? I'm going to show you all the different levels of this exercise. It's quite deep in its final version, so I'm going to show you some modification to allow for where your body is at today. Again, go to your comfortable range. Don't push it. You don't want to injure yourself, okay? So first I'm going to show you the full expression of the movement, and then I'm going to show you some modification. So the full movement is from here to there, yeah? So this is called a rocking shin lunge. So you can see that I'm taking my hips through quite a wide range. This is a beautiful stretch for the groin and the inner thigh, and I can feel it in the front hip. Here, I'm stretching the quadricep, yeah? So this is the full version. Now, I would start somewhere quite conservatively on top. See where your body is comfortable moving, what range, and then if that's going well, deepen it. Yeah? But remember that when you lower yourself down, you're also going to have to come back up. If it's causing you any discomfort in the kneeling knee, please stop or reduce the range of motion. Yeah? So anywhere, I'm going to switch so you can see a little bit more. Okay? So start somewhere, yeah, only go to the range that it's comfortable for you. And if that's good, go the full range if you can, yeah? But it mustn't put any tension or any loading on that knee, yeah? If that knee is sending you some messages that it's unhappy, don't ignore it, yeah? Because that's not what we're doing. How is that How's this going for you? It's quite deep, yeah, and it kind of mobilizes a whole bunch of muscles and joints at once. Okay, let's move on to some other movements. I'm going to show you one of my favorites, which is probably the simplest yet the most effective movement for the hips, and that is the shin box. Yeah, so you're going to start roughly about here, and if you need a little bit more distance, you can just go slightly lower. Yeah, the feet are quite wide. Okay, and from here you're just going to simply fold your legs one way, and then you're going to follow with your upper body. Yeah, so following the hips. So now I have taken my hips through external and internal rotation. Yeah, if you want a little bit of technical jargon. So this hip is opening that way, so that's external rotation. This hip is opening this way, which is internal rotation. Yeah, so you're doing both, and so you're going to dynamically transition from side to side again, because we are doing mobility movements, warm-ups, or for mobility, we're not going to stay in the position for too long. Yeah, so often I see people warming up in the gym and they're doing this, they're just holding a certain pose. You cannot stretch cold muscles. You need to mobilize, okay, before you are doing any activity, or if you're using it to remove tension. Yeah, static stretching like this is wonderful post-workout, but not before it. Yeah, because your body is cold. What these kind of movements are doing, you're moving the joint in its socket, which is warming up the synovial fluid. The synovial fluid is a fluid or substance that's between your joint, so between the joint capsule and the actual bone. Okay, and think of it as chewing gum. When you take a chewing gum out of a packet, it's really easy to break it. It's brittle, but when you put it in your mouth and you chew it for a while, you take it out of your mouth and suddenly it becomes quite supple and you can stretch it. So the synovial fluid is exactly the same thing. When you first start moving, it's literally like a chewing gum that you take out of a packet, and you need to move it to then warm it up. Yeah, because when you're doing any exercise or activity, or even if you want to do these mobility movements in the morning to get your body ready for life, for whatever you're doing in your day, that's how you warm up the joints. Okay, so here, and again, go at your own speed. If you can't put your legs down all the way to the floor, don't worry. Yeah, just go somewhere where you're comfortable going and just transition from side to side. If you do this for 3 weeks most days, I guarantee you that you're going to notice enormous difference. Okay, now a little bit of test of your hip mobility and whether you have any strength around the hips, because we can't just think about mobility. We need to think about, do I have any strength around these joints as well that will help me in my movement? Yeah. So from here, you're going to tighten your glutes, tighten your abs, and then you're going to pop up into what's called a shin box extension. Yeah. Now, I know from experience, this is a quite challenging movement for a lot of people. If it's too much for you, just leave it out for now. But there's few ways how you can get comfortably, how to kind of help yourself to get into it. And that is, you can rock into it. Yeah, so using a little bit of momentum, and you can rock into it and then pop up. Make sure that the muscle that's popping you up is your glute. Yeah, so you would really want to squeeze those. If this is still too challenging for you, then use your hand and just push yourself up. Yeah. Often people will have a different type, different state of being on each side. Like one side could be quite good and one side could be quite challenging. Yeah. So now this is called the shin box extension. Now I'm going to show you 2 more movements, and then we're basically combining them at the moment into a really nice hip flow. Yeah. So shin box switch again. Yeah. You arrive at the final position, and now what you're going to do, I'm going to come a little bit this way. You're going to start extending the back leg. Again, I'm going to show you the full movement where you can also go, and everybody can, okay, if you just put enough effort and consistency and commitment into it. So the full movement, and this is not a yoga pigeon, so that glute needs to stay on the ground, yeah? The full expression of the movement is the hip fully turned out, my foot is facing down, the top of my foot is facing down, and I can go all the way down onto the ground. This is a marvelous stretch for literally all the muscles around the hip joint, yeah? But I understand that this could be quite challenging for a lot of people. If you can't fully lock the leg, just leave it unlocked. And also, this is still really good and doing a lot of work, okay? If you can go all the way down, fantastic. Again, don't hold it for too long, yeah? Just dynamically transition from side to side at whatever level you can comfortably do that. But don't lift the hip, yeah? That sit bone stays on the ground, yeah? And you should feel this feels really quite lovely. So this is the whole, it's called a shin box series, and I love coaching this, where you just go into a shin box switch, shin box extension, and then shin box pigeon, yeah? And you can see how you're already starting to do a little bit of a hip flow, yeah? And I'm gonna add another movement to this, but I'm just gonna quickly check with the comments, make sure that you are finding this all good. Oh, you can come up again. That's awesome, Jackie. That is so good. Hello, Tammy. So lovely to have you here. You must have seen me in the gym. Static stretches have been my go-to. This is going to be a game changer for me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. The one that I really like, just really peeves me when I see people in the gym doing this. And this. Those are the two classics, hey? Yeah, don't fall into that trap. Yeah, before workout, always mobilize dynamically. Yeah, statically, fantastic at the end of it, stretching the muscles back to where they should be because you've been contracting them in the workout. Okay. You're gonna look like you really know what you're doing now. Tell me, people might look at you a bit funny, but that's okay because it's good. That's my absolute number one move. That's awesome. Hips and thighs are so tight. Yeah, you can totally untie them though, Glad, okay? You just need to, with mobility, 5 to 10 minutes every day is a lot better than a massive session twice a week, yeah? And you can get quite clever and finding little pockets of time you have, even if it's just 3 minutes. Like when you're watching, if you're watching TV, you can easily be watching TV and doing this, right? I mean, I encourage people to do mindful movement where they really tune in and see how their body is feeling. But if that's the only time where you can find to do some mobility, then let's be it. Or during your working day, you can do a little bit. That's why I showed you some standing mobility. So if you need to get off your desk and do some movements, you don't actually have to get on a clean, dirty carpet, I don't know, in your skirt, but you can do it standing up as well, okay? So now I'm going to quickly run you through a hip mobility flow. So we'll do the shin box extension, shin box pigeon, and we'll do a spinal twist, okay? So let's start here. I'm going to go slightly sideways so you can see me a little bit better, okay? So shin box switch, yeah? Shin box extension. And obviously the order in which you do these movements doesn't really matter, okay? Shin box pigeon, again, being mindful that this glute stays on the ground. And then where you're gonna go with this, I'm gonna turn a little bit. So you are in your pigeon. You're gonna bring this leg over and we're gonna go into a spinal twist, which is a beautiful movement for stretching the glutes here, kind of the side glute. Often people get hip pain here. It's not actually hip pain because hip pain would be, if you get hip pain here, that's a bit of a problem because that is your actual hip joint, yeah? If you're getting pain here, that is your muscles, and that's good news because muscles can be released, okay? So from the pigeon, yeah, you're gonna bring your leg over and you're going to come here. Now, I'm going to again show you some variations if this is too much for you, especially if this is challenging your knees. Now, in the full version, you need to make sure that both of your sit bones are on the ground. Yeah? And then you're wrapping towards the hip. Yeah? Now, if this is too much, you can also put your foot in front of the knee. Yeah? And just do a little one here. But make sure that this knee doesn't complain. All right? Now you're going to come onto the other side. So I'm just going to show you this way so you can see it from different angles. Yeah, I'm going to go into the shin box extension. Pigeon, making sure this glute is on the ground. And then I'm going to come to the spinal twist. I'm just going to twist a little bit here. And I'm going to twist the other way. And again, both sit bones are on the ground. Okay? And then unravel and come back. Yeah? Let me know when you think about the flow, because it's lovely to do the body flows, because the mobility flows, because you kind of get lots done in a short space of time. Yeah? So you can just imagine doing this every single morning when you first wake up, or doing it at nighttime. Yeah? It'll make you feel so good. And the possibilities here are endless. I mean, I can't teach you all the movements that I have, and obviously the extension. But what I often do, I will just take it further. You can go here. Yeah? You can go and start kind of going into these quiet, complicated flows, which I won't teach you today because it will be here for a very long time. But these are fantastic, just flowing in your own time. Yeah? You can just finish here, but you can learn so much more when it comes to the hips, okay? So let me check in with you. All right, lots of comments. Yeah, Carrie, parts of these are easy for me and some almost impossible. We'll keep trying. Yeah. Remember that what you're doing here today is just giving you information. Yeah. Don't get disheartened and depressed about where your body is at. You are tuning in and you're finding out where are the limitations. Mobility is a wonderful, wonderful way to check in with your body, how it feels on any given day. Yeah. So imagine that if you're doing this every day, like Timmy, you work out at the gym. Like I love doing this first thing in the morning or before my workouts, because it lets me check in and see what is tight, either from the workout the day before or from whatever I was doing. I mean, maybe I was doing gardening for an hour or two, which put some tension in my body. Maybe I was working on the computer a bit too much, and now I've got a bit of tension in my neck. It is a wonderful way how to just really quickly check in with your body, see where are you tight, and then you can grab, if you have these movements in your toolbox, just grab them and then get into the area that's feeling tight. So don't get depressed and disheartened. This is just an information. And this should tell you where you need to be putting the work in. Yeah, it's not going to go away on its own. Yeah, so don't ignore it. If you have some movements, like these movements should be relatively simple for most people. Yeah, so if they are not, that means that your body is not working in the optimal way. If you have tight hips, a lot of movements are going to be really difficult for you, cause you pain, you can possibly get injured, but also other parts of your body will be compensating for the lack of mobility that you have in your hips, which unfortunately will be the lower back. And most people, live with some kind of pain or tension in their lower back at some point in their life. Even I was guilty of that. But I know how to look after my body now, so I don't get to that point. Okay, so take it as an information. It's just giving you, your body is telling you, I can't do this very well, so you need to give me a little bit more love and attention, so then I can move in the way that I want to. Because imagine once your hips become really locked up, and then you can't get on and off the floor, you can't get in and out of a car, you're going to lose your independence as you age, because you won't be able to live on your own. Or you won't be able to get on the floor and mop your floor, or play with your grandkids on the ground, or whatever you need to do, okay? It will be limiting your life in some way. So start now, 5 to 10 minutes every day, it's entirely possible. Everybody can find 10 minutes a day to keep their body moving the way it should, okay? This is my little inspirational talk for you. 5 to 10 minutes mobility on the same body part. Yeah, it depends. Yeah, you can combine some of these movements into, and that's what I'm going to teach you on day 6. So on day 6, we're going to learn a routine for the whole body, head to toe. Because obviously I don't do mobility like, oh, today I'm going to do hips. No, I do everything every day. Yeah. The way I structured the challenge is that we go into a one body part at a time, just so you can learn the movements for this, and also people can tune in depending on where they think they need a little bit of help. But day 6, which is New Zealand Saturday, Jackie, for you, or Friday for you in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going to put it all together, and I'm going to teach you like a little short 10-minute routine for the whole body. Okay. Yeah, you should be getting into briefly into each body part, at least with 2 movements every day. I hope that answered your question. But, you know, Jackie, if you want to structure it like Monday, I'm going to really work on my neck, and Tuesday, I'm going to work on my shoulders, then yeah, if that suits you better, then absolutely. Debbie, and it does not necessarily need workout clothes for those 10 minutes. No, I'm in my house painting clothes now. Yeah, totally. You can do it anything. Like my pants were slightly restrictive on some movements. We just kind of have to hike them out. But yeah, anything. Yeah, absolutely. Carrie, love this one. Good. That's good. The flow could really happen. I'm getting it slowly. When I first worked with this, it was so awkward. With time, I could really flow at my speed. Absolutely. Yeah. At the beginning, it's always clunky when you're learning new movements or when your body is slightly unfamiliar with the movements, but with time, it's going to smooth out. You're going to realize within 2-3 weeks, if you really commit to it 5 days a week at least, you're going to notice a massive difference. Everything is going to move so much easier. If you are really, really tight, sometimes you might just need deep tissue massage just to release some of the tension in the muscles before then you start mobilizing it. Okay, so think about that. If you are super, super tight, or you feel like you've got some knots in your muscles, the mobility will help, but sometimes a really good deep tissue massage, which is often quite painful, will just kind of get you on your way and start you off a little bit. Okay, because really tight knotted muscles are quite hard to mobilize, and they sometimes don't want to move. If you want to do it on your own, that foam rolling is the answer to that. Okay, maybe I'll do some training later on some foam rolling, which is essentially a deep tissue massage you can do on your own or with tennis balls as well. Jackie, how long should you hold each pose if you are not doing the flow? I would just very slowly transition from side to side. Yeah. So if I'm, I don't know, just wake up in the morning and I want to do my mobility, I would just slowly, it's always a little bit better because it lets you kind of tune in, but I wouldn't hold it for too long. Yeah. Because we're not stretching statically at the end of exercise. We're just mobilizing. Yeah. I mean, you can go at a bit of a speed if you're familiar with the movement. You just don't want to jerk your body into ranges it's not ready to go to because you're using momentum. Yeah. So I would go at like a nice speed. I wouldn't hold the end positions for very long because remember, if you're just starting to mobilize your body, then everything is cold. Yeah. You don't want to stretch cold muscle. Yeah, so I will just transition. If you do this nice and slow, close your eyes and concentrate on your breath, this can actually become a really beautiful meditative practice. Yeah, meditation can come in lots of different forms. It doesn't just have to be sitting in the room with closed eyes and trying to still your thoughts. If you close your eyes when you do this and you concentrate on the breath and you're very present and you're tuning into your body, that in my eyes will count as a movement meditation. For me, mobility is often a bit of a, it is actually not a bit of it is a movement meditation. Meditation is all about being present, and this is all about being present with your body, using your breath. So yeah, I will go at your own speed. Your body will tell you if you listen to it, but yeah, I wouldn't hold the poses for very long, yeah, because that would then be entering into more the static stretching, which you should be doing at the end of exercise when you're all warmed up. I hope that answered your question. Any more questions? Yeah, we've gone a little bit over the half an hour. I knew we would because hips are really important. Yeah. Work on your hips. If I have to choose one area of the body that I would really concentrate on a little bit more than others, it would be the hips. When you think about the hips are literally the engine of your body. It is where all movement is created. Walking, running, jumping, it's all about the hips and the muscles around it, okay? So if you have no time for anything else, the hips should be a non-negotiable part, okay? Oh, you're so welcome, Jackie. My pleasure. Thank you for tuning in. It's really lovely. And remember the replays, if you want to access it later and do it again, the replays are all under the guides section in the Facebook group. Yeah. Saves you kind of scrolling through the posts, through the feed and trying to find it. It's all there, day 1, day 2, day 3. And I usually upload them. I usually link them up straight after I finish the broadcast, okay? Loved this one. Oh, that's lovely, Tammy. I'm so glad. Yeah, if you go to the gym and you have squats on the list or you have deadlifts in your workout or lunges, definitely warm up your hips. Yeah. Awesome. Well, if you have any more questions that come to you a little bit later on, just put it under the post. I always look back and check the questions that people putting in the replay when they're watching the replay and stuff. But I thank you so much for giving me your precious time and learning a little bit of movement for your hips. And I will see you tomorrow. Yay for day 5. Ka kite ano, lots of love to you all, and thank you so much for joining me live. I'll see you tomorrow.